So I'm here with Andy Jervis, who is how would you describe yourself at Chesterton House? What's your role and title?
I think that was one of the reasons why you came on, wasn't it, Simon? Trying to actually work that one out. Well, I'm a joint owner of Chesterton House, and I think one of the reasons why you got involved was because actually my role has changed quite a bit over recent years, so we've been trying to define that.
Sure.
So
this transition period now from being a good solid business into going up to the next level, isn't it? I think, and what that means, I guess, to a chairman or the CEO or the person who's founded it and worked so hard all these years to build up a very successful practice.
Yeah, and we've used terms like chairman for the role that I'm sort of moving into. Whether that's the right name for it's another matter. But I mean, really, the names that you put on are of less importance. It was more about the position in the business and how to take the business forward.
Sure.
And I think when I first spoke to you, and I've known about, I've heard your name several times, but having met at the Midlands
Love Business.
Love Business.
That was February this year, wasn't it? 2014.
Yeah. And you immediately asked me one or two quite incisive questions, so I thought, well, this is quite interesting. So in responding to those, I thought it could be useful to develop this conversation further, because this sort of slotted in with where I was at that time. And that place was having been in a position where we're building, we have a financial planning business, it's grown to somewhere around 25 to 30 staff.
Sure.
But we've also recently added in accounting services, we've added in legal services. So I think there's quite a lot of innovation going on in our business.
Absolutely.
But of course, as that happens and the business grows, then roles and responsibilities change. And what was originally, if you like, the business that I created, that then my business partner came in and has been instrumental in driving that forward.
Sure.
So a different skill set's required, which means that I think I was looking for help in trying to just define how to take the business forward, how we're going to do that, but more importantly, where everyone's slotted in and what those roles are going to be, because there was quite a lot of overlap and there was some conversations that needed to be had.
Sure.
So that's sort of where I was coming at it from.
Sure. So how do you think we've got on? Because certainly from my perspective, we've been working now for about 3 or 4 months, I suppose, once a month with some email transactions and whatnot. Where do you think we've got to now over the period?
I think from my perspective, I think it's been very helpful to have that conversation, or those series of conversations. And what you've been able to do is really to challenge my thinking.
Sure.
And to be able to draw out from me where we're going with the business, and to be able to get that down in writing, which is quite important. But also to be able to sort of draw together some of the experience that you've had in being able to create a bit of a format for that, and being able to put a framework around it, so that actually things are a lot clearer now.
Yeah,
and I think the role and also my own skill sets and where my contribution to the business as it grows can be most effective, and I think I've got a lot more clarity around that.
Sure.
And there's still some work to do.
As there always is, it never stops, does it? Until you retire, but...
and it's exciting times. It's exciting times for our business, and it's exciting times for me personally.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I want to be able to take advantage of that and be able to enjoy the ride. And I think being able to do certainly there are a number of actions that have come out of the conversations that we've had, and some of those are already having quite a significant effect.
Sure.
And some of those are quite simple things. They're not. It's not hugely technical. It's not hugely demanding in many ways, but it is a readjustment, and a lot of that is about the way that you see things. It's about the way that you see the role, and once you start to get more of a picture of that in your own mind, then you start to make the adjustments that are necessary.
Yeah, it is. So it's not a program; it is a journey, isn't it? You've got to be thinking about these things and all these twists and turns. Could you give people examples of the transitional approach from where you've been because you are a fee earner, you've been a fee earner. Obviously running the business, you now have somebody who's driving that forward and taking on more of the managing director type of linear role of, this is a business, we're going to go from here to here. So how do you think the clarity of thinking in your role is going to be moving forward in the role of chairman, inverted commas, although it isn't really that role because it's just a name, but so how is it moving forward?
Well, I think there's one example of that which we talked about is simple calendar diary management.
Yeah, sure.
Now, the reason why that's important is because really I've been having come from the role of a practitioner,
Sure.
and I have my own client bank and continue to have a client bank, and therefore a lot of my time is taken up with client meetings. But as the business grows, it's become evident that actually continuing to follow the same model really doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is around the mindset that you have in terms of the role, because if the role is one of primarily servicing clients, which is really where I've come from,
Sure.
then the way that my calendar has always been structured is to serve that purpose.
Sure.
Whereas actually, as the business grows, it's become more evident that I need to move away from that role, and that's not easy to do.
No, especially when you've been doing it for such a long time. There's the routine, the habit.
It's
And I think you're absolutely right. It's this mindset of saying, this is my sense of identity. This is what's given me results in the past. This is what I do 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever. And actually making that transition to say, actually, my diary's got to be full of other things which are more, I would call transformational activities, which is helping us get to where we want to go to. That's an interesting thing to wrestle with.
Yeah, and part of that is understanding that actually, whilst it's the relationships that I value with the clients that I've had and continue to have for many years, actually, it's not serving them adequately for me to continue in a role that I'm not properly fulfilling.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I mean, that's quite a big mindset change.
Yeah, it is.
Whereas, but actually starting to embrace the idea that actually by being able to work, to use a time-honoured phrase, on the business rather than in the business.
Yeah.
Then there are things that I can add that are helping the team who will be taking over those client relationships, helping them to add more value, helping them to increase their expertise in a way that actually probably serves the client a lot better.
Yeah.
But also ensures the continued expansion of the team, makes sure that we've got a sound platform and that everybody's talking to each other, because as the business grows, communication is one of the big issues.
Yes, absolutely.
And clearly, if I'm not communicating in the role that I have, then we've got a problem.
Sure.
So being able to facilitate that and having that understanding is all very helpful.
Sure.
And again, your role in this, in many ways, I mean, you've been able to introduce several ideas and there are several exercises that we've been through, but a lot of it is just actually a sounding board to be able to reflect this back and say, do you realise, Andy, what you just said?
Yeah, it is.
What you said there doesn't match up with what you're doing over here.
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, we've just spoken to another significant other, and they've got a slightly different view on things.
Exactly, and that's a useful perspective as well.
Yeah, sure. So some of the things that we also talked about was you moving into kind of like I call it the custodian of values, because it's been your business for a long time, and you have a certain way of working and a certain set of core values, which are the Chesterton House values. It's the way we do things, and it's been extremely client-centric, and it's spending the time listening and building deep levels of rapport with people, with clients who come back time and time again, or just haven't left you because they respect and honour the way that you do things and value what you do. So you have a sort of a custodian of value kind of role to play, but also coaching your team to do things in a way that embody everything that Chesterton House is all about, and that's something you're moving into, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a great believer in coaching. A lot of the work that we do with clients is a form of coaching.
Yeah, it is.
Financial advice and all of that surrounds that is very much about people's behaviour. It's about managing their behaviour and showing them that there are better ways of doing things.
Yeah.
But then that spills over into working with the team to be able to encourage those what we would call client-facing members of the team, whether they're an accountant or a solicitor or whether it's a financial planner, to be able to ensure that they have the same set of values, the same ethos. You know, it's not to say that they're not all individuals in their own right, they all bring their own skills and they all bring their own abilities. But there has to be a common central theme to that, and my belief is, and I've certainly seen this to be true over the years, is that if everyone buys into that belief system, then that just transforms the way a business works.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
It transforms the relationships with clients, but it also transforms the relationships inside the business,
Sure.
because one of the things that I have been working on over many years, and I think the work I've done with you has really brought this much more to the fore, is to be able to say, look, those values are there to be expressed.
Sure.
People need to be reminded of that. They need to be shown how you can actually turn, if you like, a nice feeling into an action that is repeatable, that you can continue to deliver time
Sure.
after time after time.
Sure.
And doing that requires a sufficient input of time, which is why I say this is where the thing comes up that actually is my time better spent talking to clients,
Sure.
or is it helping the rest of the team to really get a grasp of those values and to have them ingrained,
No,
so
I
that
get
the
that.
client gets that consistent experience.
Sure. We've also had a bit of a chat about innovative and creative ways of building I won't say a new network, but a network which is commensurate with where the business wants to go. And we're talking about doubling, tripling, quadrupling the size of the business in the next 3 to 5 years or so. And it's, how can we reach out to different types of people and make those connections? And it's something I feel so firmly about, which is defining the new network you want in advance of needing it, if you see what I mean, and starting to nurture those relationships with different people.
Yeah.
So do you have a kind of like a view on where we're going to be going with all that?
It's probably a bit early in the process
Sure.
to be going too deeply into that, but I do very much buy into the whole idea, and I'm very aware of the fact that as a business grows, then you need different levels of expertise.
Sure.
You need to be able to have different types of conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's very valuable. I think we've still got to go through the process of probably starting to really think that through and narrow those down and
Sure.
and really determine how we're going to tackle that. The concept, then I'm 100% behind.
Sure.
And again, it's something that I think actually is, all of these things, I suppose, are things that you could do by yourself, left to your own devices.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm a great believer in coaching, and I think that having someone like yourself to draw that out,
Sure.
and actually just get it down on paper, and just be able to reflect it back. I mean, actually, that's quite helpful.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
certainly, I feel as though the early signs, 3 months is a fair time, but it's not very long in the scheme of things. I think the early signs are very good. Looking forward to the next few months.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it as well. It's certainly when you're in the role that I do, you look for 3 things, and you're looking for people who've got talent, and you have that in abundance, and I don't mind you saying that, or else you wouldn't have built the organisation to where you are now. You're looking for ambition, and you're looking for people who are kind of time poor, that want to use their time effectively. Because I know if you can just do that little injection of half an hour here or an hour, or whatever it's going to be, that will help that person go to the next level. That is what makes my role as a coach immensely fulfilling. Because you think, I've helped them get to where they want to go to slightly faster than maybe reading a book or a training course or whatever. It's direct, very focused, but it's about an acceleration of somebody's aspirations or achievement of people's aspirations. That's about as good as it gets, I think, from a coach's perspective. So it's a pleasure working with you, it really is.
Thank you. Well, I mean, one of the things that's you mentioned the words time poor, and almost as you say the words, it's sort of because one of the things that's really important to me is having space.
Yeah, sure.
And we talked about this, and having the time to be able to think things through properly and to enjoy life.
Sure.
I mean, that's what it's about. If you're not enjoying yourself on the journey,
Sure.
then why are you doing it?
Sure.
And I mean, I think what working with someone like you does is actually the key word is accountability.
Yeah.
It's actually about saying, okay, so you're saying you want this. What are you doing about it?
Sure.
And when you get, dare I say that when you get to the top of the organisation, where is the accountability?
Sure.
And without some kind of external influence, then left to my own devices, I'll probably just wander along, smelling the flowers.
I can't see you wandering along. No, maybe I can do.
Well, let's hope. Perhaps later.
No, it's nice because we do have those little, month or weekly emails, whatever, where we do talk about what we've done that week, and it's always a pleasure just to read them. I go, oh, that's really cool. He's doing this and this and this, and then it has the ability then just to fire back something you haven't thought about and whatever. And to me, coaching is what we all need in anything that we do. I mean, it's I got into sport in quite a big way, did a triathlon, whatever, but I could have done it without a coach. All the big things that we achieve in life, we need those people around us. But I think people need to do it in the right way.
Yeah.
If you're going to be
well, I've seen this many times in financial planning context.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Everybody knows what to do.
Sure.
Doesn't mean they do it.
No. So, no, it's been a pleasure, and as I say, it's a joy to work with you and your team. Get to meet some of the other people in the business now and have the opportunity to help you be some more successful.
Likewise, so thanks for your input up to now. Looking forward to the future.
On the project, and wait for the next instalment. Take care. Cheers.
Thanks, Simon.